making a big deal about weed. Why don't you stop? I mean, fentanyl is killing people on accident. Like, it don't take nothing. A pinky nail's worth it to drop a full-grown adult. I don't think weed is gonna, wipe out
It,
society, but fentanyl's well on its way.
and it's in everything. It's
Oh my
literally,
God, everything.
I can't remember the stat that I saw the other day, but like 7 in 10 or something like that has got at least some of the, because it's everywhere.
Yeah, because
It's
it's coming
just,
from being manufactured in it, and then once they get it here, the people uh, are cutting it on top of it, and they're dropping like flies.
right. And
Just
it was, what's my husband and I, we, of course, at the beginning of this journey too, we both had that question, why would you want to kill your customers? It didn't make any sense. Yeah, I was like, that's just dumb. And then, with that soft white underbelly, I had to, as green as I was with everything,
don't make me
there was a
laugh.
lot of education, not the Whitaker part,
Oh man, I love them.
not quite the Whitaker part, but that was good too, and that's where I discovered him.
I'm like, dude.
But having those people in active addiction coming on and telling their stories, their preference, and they'll tell you, my preference is heroin. That was my drug of choice. But you can't go on the street and find heroin now. All you've got is fentanyl. And
Right.
I heard one of them kind of give the description of, with heroin, you get up in the morning, you wake up, you're not feeling real good, you got that, early morning sickness or dope sick or whatever, and you get your fix in the morning. It carries you through the day, functioning addicts. They can go throughout their day with their, maintain their buzz. Usually in the afternoon, you need another fix. It'll get you through till you go to sleep. And then, through the day. With fentanyl, within 10 minutes of that hit, you're already starting to get dope sick again. And it's just that repeat
Oh,
process. So 2 a
I didn't
day versus
really.
10 a day.
I didn't
Because there
realize
had
it
to
was
be
so
some
short
logic to
term.
it. There had to be,
Wow.
there had to be some logic behind it. It didn't make sense to be killing off your
Right. Well,
customer
isn't that how
base.
it started though? With the like everybody was addicted to pain pills, and then they made them like impossible to get. So and they
Yeah.
shifted to heroin, and now the same thing's seeming to be happening with fentanyl and
Mhm.
heroin. That is, or yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
said it
now
backwards,
there's
but
the new mix. I wouldn't even be, somebody in the channel know it, but the new thing that they're mixing it with, where people are like literally zombies, and it rots you from the inside. That you thought
what?
fentanyl killed you quick. It's yeah. Somebody will probably know it. I can't call it off the top of my head because it's another like weird medicinal word. But it's the mix of
It's a
those two
medicine. Like,
things.
what the heck
No,
is medicinal?
it's an illicit. It's illicit.
Oh, it's like a. Is
For
it a like a
has no
what's
medicinal
it called?
purpose.
A chemical,
Hmm.
like kind of like the
But
lab made
it's
type
the
shit.
two of them that people are literally like walking around the streets like
Sy-
zombies.
Synthetic. That's what I meant.
Could be
Oh, Nick said GHB question mark.
trying to. I know the
GHB. Isn't
word.
that like the date rape, Judd? Hold on, I'll Google it real quick. I'm sure it'll come
Um,
up. Like, I
I think
know
it's
in
like the
Florida
zombie drug.
for a while, people were like smoking bath salts, and literally like this one, there was this one case where this guy was so whacked out of his
Trank.
mind, and
There it
it gives
is.
you
All I
like
had to do. Yeah,
train.
I
Oh,
typed in
trank.
zombie drug. Trank. But it's the mix of those two.
Oh, what the heck?
Fentanyl
I gotta,
mixed with xylazine. That's it.
what the heck? What the, oh,
Yeah.
what the freak is xylazine? I'm about to Google it.
But that's the new mix that they do. That it's even more of a respiratory inhibitor. That they're dropping dead
A
in the street.
veterinary drug? What the heck? What is it? A horse tranquilizer?
Probably.
What? Oh my! Isn't that what fentanyl is too?
No,
Hold
fentanyl
on.
is a synthetic opioid, and it's used. Being hospice with what I do. Fentanyl is a very effective pain medication, but most of the time it's done through like transdermal patches to where you put a patch
Oh,
on
okay.
and it's you've got that steady flow or whatever for managing like cancer pains or end stage disease process, it's a very effective, especially for people who can't take oral medications. Morphine is the go-to, liquid morphine that you do sublingual. But that's what fentanyl is. But it's so much more powerful and potent that they could manufacture more of it with less cost. I mean, if you get dental work or something, on the off chance that somebody prescribes you Norco now, you go get, a script for, 10, 325 Norco, it's going to cost you like 22 cents, like literally. It's so cheap.
That is, I wonder how it could get out of control. I don't see how there could be a problem. What in the freak French toast?
And it's all about
It's
the
like
money.
yeah, but it's like, dude, I know how it starts, but how does it stop? Like, it's
Kathy, that's fentanyl is one of the things, whether it propofol is a good that anesthesiologists use if you're going in for surgery or something. Fentanyl, propofol, things like that. That's also used to put you under.
oh my goodness. What's an adulterant? That just sounds weird.
Just an additive, something that adds, an adulterant.
They're mixing it with cocaine, heroin, and a variety of other drugs.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be in it and you won't even know. It's literally
too late.
But the thing about xylazine is that the fact that it is not an opioid, Narcan, it has no effect on it. So there's not like a nasal puff you can do that pulls you back out of it.
Once it's a non-opiate sedative.
Mm-hmm. That is
muscle relaxant. Only authorized for veterinary use. Are you kidding me? Wow. Only you're authorized for veterinary use according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Not currently a controlled substance under the U.S. Controlled Substances Act. It was first discovered in Puerto Rico early 2000s. Huh. Wow. Sounds like they've had it. It's 2000. I mean, hello, you ain't figured it out how to get it under control now. And is Puerto Rico? That isn't that the United States? I mean, geez.
Yeah. DEA laboratory system reporting that in 2022, approximately 23% of fentanyl powder and 7% of fentanyl pills seized by the DEA contain xylazine.
Adverse effects. Oh my gosh. I better not have pictures. I'll freak out. Oh my god. Effects associated with this include dry mouth, drowsiness, hypertension, and I don't know how to say that. Followed by hypertension and
tachycardia. Your heart doesn't pump right. It just means your heart rhythm is out.
And what this one, bradycardia.
Bradycardia. Again, your heart's not beating the right way.
All the way around, not good for the heart. Reduced heart rate, coma, respiratory depression, and wow.
It basically makes
users who inject it
functioning the way that they're supposed to.
So if you shoot up, it says it, or if you inject it, it often develops soft tissue injuries that can lead to necrotic tissue and may result in amputation at rates higher than those who inject.
That's the zombie part. It like you have rotten necrotic spots.
Oh my! What is like? It turns black and literally like gangrene type stuff.
Mm-hmm. It dies.
Whoa.
It becomes necrotic. Yeah, and dies.
That is terrible. A physical dependence. They may develop a physical, so it's addictive. Aside from whatever it's mixed with, there's that. With some users reporting the withdrawal symptoms as or more severe than from heroin or methadone. Oh my! I mean, it can't get much worse. From the stories that I've heard, there's people that would literally like sell their soul just to not be sick. I mean, just puking and pooping blood and just everything aches. I couldn't imagine it being worse. Are you kidding me? Okay, Let me download this and then.
Oh yeah, Ranger. They lace everything. You can't pot on the street nowadays. It's I mean getting. I mean, God, it's been 20 years probably. I didn't even know that pot came in like boutique settings now, where you go pick it up. You know, I haven't ever been in a dispensary or whatnot, but you can like pick out what strain you want, and it's all like fancy schmancy or whatever. But street pot, it's gonna be laced, you know, whether they dip it in something or sprinkle something on top of it or, you know, whatever. I mean, God, you should just be, you know, ditchweed. But you
Mm,
just, none of that is safe anymore. Fent perk pills. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah. And it's like almost instantaneous death. Like you don't even have time to realize somebody is ODing until they're gone. And Narcan has no
Oh, to the
effect.
bone? Oh my God. That is crazy. Like,
Oh yeah, skin, like skin and muscle tissue just literally like sloughing off of them. Like you are a
mm,
like it is rotting off your body as you are walking around.
I
It's
gotta see it.
terrible. I don't want to see it.
I'm gonna regret it, but I gotta see it. The curiosity killed the cat. It'll, hey, listen, it definitely, I'm not saying that I'm gonna like become an intravenous drug user tomorrow, but I promise you, if I ever consider it, I will remember this moment.
Well, and that's the whole reason that I don't have RN behind my name is because venipuncture and injections and things. When I got to clinicals, I'm like, nope, nope.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm done.
Told you not to
I'm
look.
good. I'm good. Oh my God. Dude, people shoot up in their toes? Okay, I can't do this.
I don't even want to stump my toe, much less.
I don't even want to like look at them. I hate feet. Freaking, can you imagine? I don't even want to. I mean, bless them, because I have heard stories from people, like not so much heroin, but meth is kind of the thing around here. Go figure. But that they have like collapsed their veins from doing it in their, and they have no choice. Like they start having to do it in their neck and in their between their toes and between their fingers. I'm just like, dude, it's not. Just stop. Like, how do you? Like their legs. I mean, literally just jabbing the crap out of themselves and giving themselves all kind of like hepatitis, what I don't know, the ABCs, just from like reusing the same needles and just disgusting.
Gross.
And doing
It's
it to themselves. It's just crazy. Like,
And I have seen the effects of that on someone just in this last year that, you see it on TV or you see it, whatever, but to see it in real life with someone now, mm, I, at first I pitied him, but now I don't so much. I can't say that because I wouldn't wish this, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, honestly, as hard as that is to say, because I have such strong feelings of animosity, but it's still sad to see. I know I'm so terrible about that. It's like I'm too nice to a fault, but I can't.
oh,
I
I'm
still
just
can't
reading
help
the
it.
chat because Ricky Lynn said people shoot in the vein of their penis, which to me that is just asinine. But I mean, I guess
Oh, sweet
it would
Jesus.
doing booty bumps. But still, I'm not stick. I don't have a penis, but I'm just saying I would be like hell to the no. And Avery said one day I want to see Kaylee's Google search history. It would probably give you nightmares.
Just the
Oh man.
randomness of it, probably.
Oh yeah. Listen. Oh, I could. It would probably blow your mind. Like you'd probably request me to have a mandatory evaluation, 24-hour for sure.
I'm,
Like,
I,
how did you
I
get
don't know.
here?
Something
Because
like if somebody says a word I don't know or a diagnosis or something, I mean, like instantly I've got to
I'm
find out.
Googling it, yes. And dude, WebMD is my, like, it will have me, like, planning writing my eulogy because I got 72 hours to live. I'm dying. Like, it's the devil, I tell you. I'll be Googling symptoms and literally, like, the shit that I type in is like, it works, it gets results.
Hmm.
And I don't clear my search history ever, so, man, that would be something. If anybody ever got a hold of my Google search history, I would probably never, ever, ever.
You'd be
go
on them
outside again.
for sure.
I'm quite certain a couple of them got me on a watch list for sure. At least a few of the books that I've bought off of Amazon, I'm quite certain I'm on a list for sure.
Crazy.
Snowden, New World Order, like, you know, just the shit that I've always been told my whole life. Oh, you better stay away from that. And I'm like, ooh, that's what I want. Hey, Justice for Harmony. Oh,
That's what I was reading.
drowsiness, amnesia, and slow breathing. Oh, so it like drops your blood pressure. Well, doesn't that like do that anyway with heroin? So it just completely like, ooh, and I guess will eventually just your heart will stop beating if it's you can't slow it. And then aren't people like speed falling? Is that I think I heard somebody say that where they're doing meth or cocaine and fentanyl. Like that's like a walking heart attack waiting to happen. Extreme high, extreme low at the same damn time. Crazy. It's a miracle their hearts are still beating.
Yeah, a lot of times they stop. So
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. I had to Google it, and it was mostly like it's more common with meth and cocaine, but now it's starting to evolve to heroin and meth. And I'm like, dude, that is like the most extreme upper and the most extreme downer. Like, and you're doing them both. That is
I think
nuts.
that would like counteract each other, but I just don't understand it.
Counteract your heart. I mean, and then they don't care about Narcan, which blows my mind.
Well, and again, Mississippi finally got on the boat with that you can get Narcan sent to your home address for free.
I got some. It was free. Yeah, I got some back a long time ago. Where I used to watch her channel. Danielle did one because it was like personal with her, and you know she lost her boyfriend to an overdose, and she gave out how you could get it for free, and I've got it. It's not really a thing here, but I know it's only going to be a matter of time before it gets here, and I tell you what, I'm prepared. I got 2 things of it easily accessible because I still have family members that are actively in the pits of their addiction, and they're idiots.
You should be mindful of your expiration dates. I mean, and it has an expiration date, but it's still effective. It just loses some of its efficacy after it's and don't keep it in your hot car in the summer because getting hot makes it
Florida Harm Reduction Collective scan here for free. So it came with 2 in the thing, and then there's a QR code on it that I can scan and get 2 more if and when I need. And then oh crap. And there is it expires in June of 2025. This window. I didn't even know it had an expiration date. Good. So it's good for another year. So. And it's the nasal spray. I thought, is there like a one that you like stab you in the leg, or is that like I know I have to have an EpiPen.
That's more like an EpiPen.
Yeah, I do. Dude, I get stung by a hornet.
Yeah, through the nasal cavity is the most effective way with Narcan, just because it's other than an injection into a vein. It's the quickest way to get into your system.
And some of them people, they're like pissed off when they wake up and you find out that you Narcaned them. Like, why'd you do that? You blew my high. Like, listen, you loon. You're alive. Like, are you? But I was watching. I think it's called Intervention or something. Or they changed its name, but it's kind of like the same thing. And this person was fighting behind mad at their mom because they like Narcaned them and was like, "How dare you? You don't have the right to do that."
Well, you instantly go into detox. Instantly.
Right. And that's what they're like. They're like, if you're going to do that, then you owe me for my next fix. You better have me one waiting. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah. You ungrateful,
crazy person.
You come out of it. You come out of it alive. Sick. You come out of it like in the throes of being dope sick. Just, with the body aches, the nausea, all of it.
And 9 times out of 10, they'll go where they just got that bad batch from. Right.
Yeah. So, all right, my little is not going to hang out for me much longer. I gave her a 5-pound bag of sand or a 50-pound bag of sand. It felt like to play like she was at the beach with. So, but y'all being seeing my boy's face on everybody's profile picture, and then I can't even put into words what that means to me, and to my family, and just everybody that loves him and misses him. It's been a heck of a week. Um, 479 days today. It's been, um, and it I don't know, 479. I remember, getting to the week mark, and then the 2 week mark, and then that 30 day, and by that time, I think I, read up on some other missing persons cases, and, like David McAllister comes to mind. I'm like, God, you've been
Oh,
doing this for 5 years. I can't imagine 5 years. Well, we're going to be hitting the
David
500-day
McAllister.
mark soon. And never, I never in a million years thought that we would be this far into it, and honestly not feel like we had gotten any further than we are, just
Oh,
knowing what we know,
right.
just
And it,
having the blatant evidence, I mean, the actual facts sitting and right here in front of you, like you lay it out for them. Nothing.
yeah, I mean, they can't even give you a neck, it's like, okay, they almost have the attitude and the tone like, okay, what do you want me to do with that? Like, like,
Your
and then
job.
yeah, like, and then they'll say, oh, well, have you talked to this person? Have you talked to this person? Like, come on, you're the lead on the case, and other agencies cannot come without being requested. Like, why are you playing dumb?
Right.
Like, you single-handedly didn't tell your officers not to stop any investigation. Like, only one person can do that.
Right. Well, and
And
we
why?
one of the big challenges we faced in the very beginning was, well, who's our lead investigator? Who, we had to ask that question dozens of times. Who is the lead investigator? And as of today, and has been supposedly the whole time, Lieutenant Juanita Mitchell is our, quote, lead investigator. Well, Juanita Mitchell was out. She was in and out of work, so she wasn't even there when Alex initially went missing. I think it was 2 weeks or so before she even got back to work, because she was out on medical leave, with an injury. And she would come back to work for about a week, and then she'd be out for another 2 weeks. And then she'd come back to work for, a couple weeks, and then she'd be out again. So she wasn't even really active in it anyway. And, every time she'd come back, I'd have to like update her on, what had progressed since then. But, it's just getting her to follow up on something is pulling teeth. We experienced that, yesterday when I talked with her. you know, can you get this done now? Here's the phone numbers you need to call. Here's all the stuff you need. Let me lay it out for you. Um, but just, and then I'll have to call again the next day. Did you get it done? Okay, well, call me when you do. But that's kind of where we are right now, is that I think the only effective way that we're going to get anything to happen is there's got to be a federal aspect to it. There's got to be an outside agency that's not state based. It's going to have to be federally based, that's to get any movement.
Son
Oh,
of a
for sure,
biscuit.
Nick. For sure, Nick. That's there. It's absolutely there. And the only reason that I don't just come right out and say it is because I don't like to have, I don't like to say, oh, it's blatant corruption and here are the ties without posting the receipts for it. I just can't post receipts in a public forum, but it's there.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's absolutely there, and it's real hard for me not to get up here and be like, "You scroungy
Uh-huh.
beep 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 beep." But they
There
know.
is,
They know.
and it's it's one of those things that, come November, hopefully we'll have somebody in that seat that will call it out and go, here you go, inspector general and state auditor and attorney general and, all the people that need to see it to actually turn over the information that will probably turn that county on its ear. But too many people have suffered. And, I made this statement yesterday that, you know, the situation that me and my family are in with Alex is awful. It has been devastating. None of us will ever be the same. The family dynamic has changed, all of those things. But something good will come from this. And if the sacrifice that Alex has made and that my family and me have made in not having him is the catalyst to make this change, God gave that to me. God gave me this challenge because he knew that I could do it. And he knew that I could carry the weight of it. And he knew that there may be days that I would struggle and would be harder than others, but he knew that I could do it. And that's why it was given to me. And if Alex is the catalyst for the change, I will take it. I will take it and I will make sure that something good comes from this tragedy. And if it saves another family from going through what we are going through and have been going through, then it makes it worth it. I see my sister in your chat.
Hey, girl, hey.
I
Sorry.
have to tell you, she's probably one, I would love for her to come and talk, but I know but the strength and, you want to talk about somebody keeping it professional when you want to just spit nails at somebody. Hey, she is, grace under fire. Best way to do it.
Listen, I don't think you give yourself enough credit because, girl, I have come up here and just been a hot triggered mess, and you're just like, no, you just got to stay calm and pray for these ass hats. I'm like,
Right.
girl,
And
I
it,
did it.
well, and y'all catch me out. There's some days that I'm, fire and brimstone and want to rain hell down on people. But
Yeah, but not in
it's,
private, never up here. Like,
yeah.
and I just sometimes I can't, I can't contain myself. I'm just like, F you and the horse you came in on or ran into.
Well, and it's one of those things. One, I know that my faith, and knowing that God's got me and God's got Alex, that alone, that alone, has done it. And, you sharing, I don't want to get too far off on this, but you sharing your testimony the other day, Kaylee, I can't tell you how, I mean, when I told you my heart was full, girl, you just don't even know because you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. And whether it be God or Buddha or, whatever higher being you subscribe to, God's got me. And I know that Alex is whole. I know that he is free from addiction. I know he is free from pain and the anxieties and just the worries of the world that he carried with him. I know he is whole. And God, do I miss him? Absolutely. But I will see my baby again. I will see him. And I'm okay with that. I'm impatient as hell, but I've got a little girl to raise, to show her the wonderful great things in the world that and to watch her aspire to be the woman that she's going to be. And that's another gift that's been given to me. And I have to look at it as a gift. Is it hard as hell to think as a 47-year-old woman and my husband, a few years older than me, that we're starting life over because our youngest son is 20 and we haven't had a full-time child live in our home ever through our entire marriage, that we've got a 6-year-old girl that has to be at school every morning at 7:25 in first grade and we're starting over. It's an adjustment, but I'm blessed to be able to have it. yeah, I'm blessed to be able to have the opportunity to bring her up and to, I don't want to say not make the same mistakes, but to have had the experiences that I've had to know what not to do and to know what behaviors not to accept and not to look over, and when it's okay to say no, no, that's just dumb, and to hold her to account and to have expectations of her, and to know that if she strays, you've got a lot of people you're going to be disappointing. Don't do that. Just to make sure that she always knows her worth and the value that she brings to us and to this world. And I'm blessed to have it. So,
Y'all better
and
quit in the
she's
chat. Y'all got
and
my eyes sweating.
I know, and she's a spitting image of her daddy, all the way
Yeah.
down to that sneaky little giggle. So,
Sparkles.
Leslie Sparkles. And
And listen, I don't know how you're not a hot mess, but she ain't scared of jack diddly squat. She will just jump from the highest and the let's go. She's almost like, hold my juice and watch this.
uh-huh. Hold my juice box. Oh
Like
yeah,
my son
for
is like,
sure.
dipping his toe in, and I'm watching her, and I'm just like, dude, she just dove right in, and she's like, did you see me? Fearless. I would be
Yes.
like, oh,
Yeah, we'll be riding the buggy. Papa, can I stand up now? And I'm
oh my
like, oh
goodness.
my God. Like, yes. Oh yeah. That's her, TL. Oh yeah. And she wants a YouTube channel so bad. Like so bad. And I'm like, no, honey. And she came home the other day and she's like, oh, Mimi, there's a girl in our class who has her own YouTube channel. You told me you had to be 18, that was the
Cheese
law.
and rice.
I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know how she's got her YouTube channel. Her parents must have signed in for her. And she's like, well, can you
And
do?
she's
And
over
I'm
there
like,
like,
no,
yeah, you gonna, yeah, absolutely
no.
not.
Yeah. So yeah, the one TikTok that I posted of her, I don't want her out there. Ugh. But yeah, she's something. She's gonna be a
TikTok is the
star.
worst.
Hmm? Isn't
Oh,
it?
I think
Oh yeah.
your
Um,
mom.
ugh, I'm
Oh,
still well, she's a rodeo.
what's that mutton bust? What is that mutton busting?
Okay. So
What is
last
that?
year she we had she broke her arm last year. She fell off a slide, broke her arm, and was so proud of her cast. It was ridiculous, but had just gotten her cast off her arm, and her one of her godparents, Matt Ginn, is a rodeo announcer, and he's like, in the rodeo world, he's like big stuff. So, her Mac Daddy is like, big deal in the rodeo circuit. Well, she does the Pledge of Allegiance at several of the rodeos around. She'd just gotten her cast off, and it was at Christmas, and they were doing, I can't remember the name of it, but my dad is also Santa Claus, just side note. And Santa was coming to the rodeo, and Leslie went with him to be his elf and to do the pledge and things. Well, had her still have her arm brace on or whatever. I didn't go. It was just my dad and Leslie, and we're sitting at my aunt and uncle's playing cards, and I get this video on my phone, and I was like, "What is this?" And all I heard was, "Go, Leslie, go!" And that gate swung open, and out flies Leslie, barebacked on a sheep. That's what mutton busting is they put kids on the back of a sheep and they hold on for dear life and see how long they can stay on. Well, my girl came home with a gold buckle.
Oh, we ride sheep, but we don't call it that.
Yeah. And I
Oh
was
man,
just like,
dude.
it was, she did, I think it was like 3 somersaults coming off of that sheep. Uh, it was, I was traumatized. And of course, I was on the phone. I was like, Mac, have you lost your mind? She just got out of her cast. He's like, but she won.
Cheese and
She's
rice.
so proud of that stinking buckle. Um, yeah, and that's
My
yeah.
my
She's like, I
son
need
does this
another.
weird thing. Like he loves JD Mooney and anything to do with bull riding. And I'm like, I don't know. I tell my husband all the time, like, I don't know why you set him up for this disappointment, because if you think I'm gonna be that mama from 8 seconds, you got me 50 types of messed up. It ain't happening. Are you kidding me? Who the heck wants their baby to be on a bull? Not this mama. Nope.
Mm-mm,
Nope. Not today. I mean, there's no, you show me an old bull rider. I'll wait. They
exactly.
no. No.
Or one that
Find
doesn't have
something
like a
less.
little spur in his saddle or a kink in his giddy up. And they all
He
gonna
either
have
quit
a
riding
foot
bulls
change.
young or he ain't around no more.
If you need to know what bull riding does to you, listen to Garth Brooks or
Yeah.
George Strait.
Or watch 8 seconds. F
So
that
it's
movie. I just seen
that
it for the
is
first time like 2 weeks ago, and that I was traumatized. I told my husband, he was like, "Don't even look at me for a week because why'd you make me do this? You SOB."
but yeah,
I
she loved that. But
cried.
the adrenaline junkie thing with her, absolutely. She's got it.
Yeah.
It's,
Everything is
I would
fast.
rather face life with all the confidence, like she's 10 feet tall, than be timid and afraid, But you got to make smart choices, and the sheep mutton busting thing was not at the top of my smart list, but she loved it and she won, and hopefully she'll have it out of her system now.
Absolutely not.
She did tell me the other day, "How old do you have to be before you can jump out of an airplane?" I
Oh
was
my
like,
God. What?
"Yes,
Jesus Christ. Calm down.
oh yeah.
Why do you always want to
How old do
jump
you
from
have to
stuff?
be?"
Dude, I don't
Yeah,
even get on roller coasters that have straight drops. I will wig out. And she's like, let's go skydiving. Dude, you couldn't get me in a plane to go to Mississippi, much less to jump out of one. Are you freaking kidding
oh yeah.
me?
I must say she does come by it honestly. Um, yeah, completely
Dude, I'm
honestly.
scared of everything. Everything. I'm like, dude, but what if? Uh-uh. I'm good right here on the ground.
Yeah, there's the well, you can't do that now. You gotta suck it up sometimes. But I've just never been one of those that if it gets your blood pumping, I want to try it at least once. You know, the that comes from the kid who at 6 years old was scuba diving. Because both of her parents were under the water. I wanted to be under there too. You know, but I did think I was a mermaid.
Cheese and rice, Nick. Apparently, I'm the only sissy in this chat. I'm giving y'all the eye roll AF. Yeah. I guess I'm just not a gangster. However, I do wish you had video of that, because I'm not going to say that I wouldn't laugh, because that was probably funny.
Yeah. Oh, Leslie got to hear your giggle this morning. She's impressed.
With my giggle,
Yes.
I can only imagine. I know she's so blunt. Like, what was her
She's
exact
like, play
words? Because
it again. Play it again. And then of course, she tried to mimic it. But I don't know if I sent you the video of the obstacle course, the chalk obstacle course that we did, and she's practicing her giggle as well. If I hadn't sent it to you, I will a little later today. But it's
no, I
hilarious
seen
because she
the
does it
tool
twice.
in the, you know, hey guys.
That's how they all start. Hey guys, today. But yeah, we did a big chalk obstacle course in the driveway the other day that literally was the length of the driveway. And I thought she was just going to walk through it and like do it. No, she narrated the whole thing. She took something that should have taken 30 seconds and stretched it out to 4 whole minutes, with commentary and ad ins, but it was cool. Yeah.
Ruben, stop it. He said, I've not been on a horse. Too big an animal for me. Quit making me laugh, Reverend Ruben, and that's what I'm calling you from here on out. Just so you know.
Record breathing. I like that.
And Avery said, I would really love to send a gift to your little girl. Is there a way to do that?
Yeah. She actually I don't. I mean, like if it's a physical gift, I'd certainly send you a private message with an address to send it to you. But the Find Alex Easterling Cash App account that we've got, she's got some of Alex's friends will send her, $5 and little things like that from time to time. Just earmark it and say this is, something special for Leslie or whatever. And then we usually, if there's like something somebody that earmarks money for her, then I'll let her go pick something out and she'll send you a little picture with it, or something like that is kind of what we've been doing.
Well, that's pretty easy because I had that one.
Yeah.
Real handy. Uno momento,
Yeah, and
y'all.
it's, I never thought that I would be one of those families on the receiving end of a GoFundMe. We set one up initially, just to cover, some of, because just putting together that search, you know how much it costs to feed 300 people, and rent porta potties and the sinks and and all the things that,
So you didn't get any help from the freaking state or okay, I'm gonna say F words.
Oh, no.
They didn't even donate any resources like tents and oh my gosh. No. And when you think about that, if you guys would have found something, do you know, with there being no one there from the sheriff's department, nothing would have been admissible in court because the chain of custody.
Mm-hmm. Right. When we had off duty, we had several off duty officers that were there. Some were family members, some were members of, most of the folks that were on the dog teams were in law enforcement in some way. They were all off duty. But and several EMTs that were there, that just volunteered their time and things. But we all knew enough because it was I don't know, we kind of called it the command center or whatever, but the logistics that went into planning it, we had teams and everybody and they had the big maps done out and everybody had their grids. And it was amazing to watch, how it all came together on the different teams and each team leader, I think each of the 8 teams that we had that went out in different directions, most of the teams, if not all of them, each one had a law enforcement professional in it. And then someone else that knew that piece of land and that certain area, knew it really well, knew all the little, back little cubbies and little streams that ran this way or that way, things like that. So it was all planned out, very, down to it. The logistics were amazing. And then, people that were there and doing the registrations and all that kind of stuff. And then certain people that couldn't really get out and search were serving the food and making sure that people had what they needed and would ride out to different sites with snack bags and granola bars and water bottles and different things like that. So it was amazing to see everybody come together the way that it did, with zero support from Holmes County. Zero. And I don't think that's how that should have gone at all.
Absolutely not. And no, you should have been a part of the search. They should have.
We did it without them. And I don't want to say in spite of them, but what help would they have really been?
Yeah, none. If anything, they've got out of the way. They've done more to seem like to protect the people that are
don't need to be protected.
Yeah, that part. Yeah. Scroungy, mama. Dirty dogs. Good for nothing. Just that. And literally, if y'all want to go on a journey that's just gonna get your blood pressure rolling because you feel like you haven't been triggered in your real life enough, just type in YouTube, Google. Any Bing, any search domain, Holmes County, Mississippi, and just scroll for an afternoon. I promise you'll come. In general, it will piss you off because it goes back so far. There's not a time where this just wasn't normal way of conducting as just the police not policing and the gang members running rampant and it's only it's progressively gotten The statistics are just, they climb
For
higher
a
and higher
solid
in the worst way.
30 years. Absolutely.
Yes. It's clearly not working, and it's time for freaking change. That was pretty poetic. You're welcome.
Yes. Time for change. Absolutely. Well, and I think too, we've got this timeline document that is easy to kind of follow along, but I think that I'll probably upload it to the Find Alex Easterling Facebook page and probably to my community page on YouTube as well, just so everybody can kind of read through. And this goes through, let me look at the last entry that I've got, because I've got a more updated one, but at least through May of last year. And I think I've got an updated version that goes on through like September, from when, things just kind of, we did as much as we could do. And there have been some updates since then with, phone call tips or, different things like that that need to be added. But the timeline just goes through from, the minute that I picked him up that afternoon and, all the way until, when I left him, and all the things after that, but just lay out some of like the inconsistencies with, I've probable cause warrant. We've needed a probable cause warrant to search since day one. But from that first Friday that, that I dropped him off on a Wednesday, that Thursday evening when I still hadn't heard from him, and I asked my husband when he got home, what's a reasonable time frame for a wellness check? And he's like, you haven't heard from Alex yet? And he was like, now is when you do it. And that next morning, Friday morning, my dad and Willie March are knocking on the trailer door at 138 Stockyard and saying, hey, Alex was here yesterday. What do you know? Just having those three contradicting statements made by D. Edward Anderson, aka Chucky, one to Willie March, one to my father, and one to one of the deputy sheriffs, three different statements to the replies to the same question on the same day. That's probable cause. Well, yeah, Alex was here, but we were just chatting on the front porch and he needed some phone numbers. So I went inside to get my phone and I came back out and he was just gone. Oh, yeah, Alex was here and we were talking on the front porch, but I went inside to grab a t-shirt and I came back out and he was just gone. Oh, yeah, Alex was by here. Yeah, we were talking for a little while, but I ran inside to get a cigarette and I came back out and he was just gone. Which one was it? And if you went inside to get your phone to give him some phone numbers and you came out and he was gone, then how did he call Dalton Householder at 8:36 p.m. if you weren't able to give him those phone numbers because he was just gone? Common not. I mean, just do your job. Almost 500 days later, D. Edward Anderson has still not been formally questioned by any law enforcement agency. You have to let that sink in. This is a convicted drug dealer who was soon to be off probation. I think he's still on paper, but Mississippi's real laxed with their probationary stuff. He's supposed to come off paper, I think, November 2024. But if you pay off your fines early and if you do just
and you clean up after Mississippi has tornadoes, apparently you can just sell heroin as you please.
5 counts
of the
sale of morphine, 30-year sentence, got 18 suspended, was supposed to serve 12. I may have that backwards, 12 or 18. But anyway, got a lot of his sentence suspended.
And did a little bit of time. I mean, the bare minimum. I don't even know how that adds up.
Less than 3 years.
Yes. Dude, my dad has done more time than that. And he was a user and not... and never really got arrested for drug things. It was the things that stemmed from the addiction, like stealing and dumb stuff like
Mhm.
that. He never really got caught with drugs because he didn't ever have, that's why he's stealing stuff. He didn't have it like that. He wasn't walking around with the pounds in his pocket.
Right. And
I think
well,
he had more like a paraphernalia charge, but still, my dad did 5 years every time he went just because he was an habitual offender on driving on suspended license. Are you kidding me?
right.
Florida don't play
Well,
though.
and thinking back to it, there were so many conversations that were had in those first few days that, some, statements and things just kind of went past me and I didn't really think, too much about at the time. But then going back, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was huge. Like Willie March trying to act like he didn't know who D. Edward Anderson was at first. Like didn't even know who he
Bah.
was.
Come on,
Come
he
on.
called him from the freak. He called
Right.
him before he would let y'all on the
He's got your
property.
number saved in his phone, mister.
And,
Come
and
on.
after he called his mama, and come on, we know you know his mama, Mister Willie, sir. Don't get me started. Mm,
And then to
mm.
that were there and and I'm like, making phone calls to family members who are, in law enforcement in the judicial system and saying, hey, look, this is where I took Alex. I know this is where he was. What who can sign this warrant for me? I need this. I need this now. He's been gone for 3 days. I need to know where he is. Well, Ashley, you took him to the drug dealer's house. Okay, well, he didn't have that sign posted when I pulled up at his trailer. It didn't. I wasn't aware, but you were, and the sheriff's department was, and all these other people in the community that have the power to do something about it. Y'all all knew he was a drug dealer, but how was I supposed to know? I don't live here. I don't reside here. I don't function in that world. But you people knew, and y'all have allowed it for years. You have allowed him to peddle his. Ooh, that almost came out. You've allowed him to peddle this poison out of this trailer and off of this property and have done nothing. And now my son is gone because of it. And you're gonna tell me, well, you dropped him off at the drug dealer's house. Oh, okay. This okay. Still has not been questioned. I don't, and it was the excuse that we were given is he was going to come in for a voluntary interview, and it was probably just going to be the Holmes County Sheriff's Department. I think it's right around May 2nd. That 11 days after Alex had disappeared, that he said he was going to come in and make a voluntary statement at the Sheriff's Department. Well, I called the NBI agent. I was like, hey, did you know that they were going to be interviewing Chucky? And he's like, first I've heard of it. I was like, can you be there? I know, if you, is there any way that you can please be there? Just so I know somebody else is there as a witness to it, and make sure that things go the right direction. He absolutely, and said that when he came in, and I actually had that conversation with Willie March, telling it, so it's not just me saying it, that he walked in to the sheriff's department like an hour late from when he was supposed to be there, and saw the NBI agent sitting in there, and it wasn't just Holmes County Sheriff's Department staff, and was like, I don't know what this is. I came in here voluntarily. I'm feeling intimidated. I want an attorney, and left. Okay, well, everybody, Americans have a right to an attorney. That's fine. But you have to actually retain one. You have to actually retain one, and then your attorney follows up with the sheriff's department, and you make arrangements
Yeah, you just
to,
don't let
to
him go and
either be
never talk to him
questioned or
again
whatever.
because they lawyered up. This ain't cops.
But he never lawyered up.
Right.
He never retained an attorney.
But even if he did do that, that would have been the only thing that, the lie detector tests aren't admissible in court. So it's
Right.
like, what are they're doing, the stuff they are doing is like, I'll let you have this, like, oh, to me, I would feel like they're trying the absolute teetotal F out of me, like right in my face in plain English, like, what you gonna do about it? Oh, the whole him smiling at you and trying to shake your hand, like, has he lost his ever loving mind?
Oh, that was a you would have been you would have been proud of me that day because that was fire and brimstone
Yeah,
day.
that was a reaction like me. Like I'd have been had to been put in the back of the truck. That's more my style. I'd have been like a rabid dog. I'd have bit his nose
But
off.
yeah, so it was that was, and it but it went that way. And then the day that we were there with the search dogs, and I know you've played that tape too, but it was we had two separate teams that came in, and one team was the trailing dogs, the bloodhounds that that we got a pair of Alex's shoes. They caught the scent, and they do the scent trail. And then another team of the cadaver dogs, and they were two separate teams, two separate, and they worked independent from each other, but they started with the trailing dogs. And when I tell you, instantly, I mean, when those bloodhounds hit, they will take you smooth off your feet. And I mean, they hit at that gate and straight to that front porch, and I mean, they were just all over. And then, and when we say the back side of the house, it's not like the back door of the trailer. It's that everybody parks right there at the front door, and there's like a covered awning, and then the back side of the porch. So it's essentially the south side of the trailer on the other side of the long end, that you walk straight through. That's the back side of the house. Well, they tried to cross that porch, and no, 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 no. He didn't go back there. He didn't go back there. Well, what do you mean he didn't go back there? We thought you went inside to put on a shirt or get your phone or get a cigarette. How do you know which direction he went? Well, I know he didn't go back there. We've gotten a few things since then on the real reason why, which I don't believe any of them. He's a drug dealer who has stolen vehicles and stolen property on his, on his
Don't
place.
miss
Of
me
course
with that
they've done.
bullshit. Holmes County ain't gonna do
Right.
nothing about it anyway.
No, they are not.
I mean, there might have been
Um,
something in the stolen cars that might be more believable, but
right.
them cadaver dogs ain't gonna say, "Hey, that car's stolen." Come on,
Right.
man. Miss me with that shizazazah.
But with
Good try
the
though. And listen, the way that guy, not that guy, the handler, you could hear it in
mhm,
his voice, like he was. I'm not gonna say scared because but he was
right.
concerned for the safety of his team and his dogs, and never took his eyes off of Chucky pretending to
Mm-mm.
be whatever he was doing in the garden. And I mean, he went from being kosher and being reasonable to irate was I think the word he used, and that's
Well,
a
and it
big
was
jump in emotion, right? From calm to 0 to 100 real quick.
oh yeah, and it will, and I witnessed that firsthand, and it was, I mean, it was literally arms, and I'm not saying like hands all the way extended above his hand. He had his arms up and doing them back and forth, going, nope, 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 you're not going back there. You're not going back there. We're done. We're done. Y'all don't. My dogs are getting hot. I got them pinned up for y'all. He ain't go back there. Y'all, we're done. Y'all got to go.
My dogs
Um,
are getting hot. What the
yeah, because he
beep
has,
beep 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 beep?
that's,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're in the
Well, he
pen.
had,
Ain't that where they stay?
and when what was so crazy with those pits, and I think there were like three or four of them, which is quite obvious that he also participates in dogfighting, which is
No
also very prominent,
shit, huh?
which is also very prominent in Holmes County. That when he would go and get the dogs, those tails would curl up underneath them. They would cower down,
He's a
whatever. When those
oh,
dog
don't listen.
handlers
I
were
will
by
get.
them, the
Oh
dog
man,
handlers would go near them. Those little tails would just get to wagging, and they look like regular old, just sweet dogs. Like, oh my god, I can tell you're a dog person. I can tell you're not going to be mean to me. But to watch
mm,
that part of it,
dude. I listen.
um,
You want to get me fired up? Let me hear about some. Dude, listen. I will. That is almost just as bad. The only thing that's going to get me more triggered is like doing some terrible stuff to kids. But you just got to be a certain kind of mf'er to be, because animal they can't tell. They can't,
mm-mm.
and for what? You just that's just a bully. And I got something for yo ass. Bully me, biatch.
Well, and it was
Oh,
that day that, we got to be, and that's the only time I've really been on the property since, I dropped out off that night. It was all dark, so I couldn't really see much then
dog
anyway.
fighting.
But that
God,
day,
Lee, does this guy have no morals? Like, is there anything he don't do?
um,
Dog fighting. I mean, that is
probably,
just how. Is there anything that's not a thing in Mississippi? And crazy because I just watched the news and I don't know if it was Lee County or Holmes County. People get their dogs are just getting snatched and coming up missing. And then you say that, my ears are getting hot. Like, oh, and
oh yeah,
cockfighting apparently like chicken fighting. What the
oh,
is this? Is
chicken
this
fighting is
Mexico?
still, that's a big thing.
Yes, and the
And they
sheriff
learn
knows
all
about
that.
it.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things. If you type in Holmes County, that they busted a big, two people got shot and killed at it.
Is people like paying and crowding around it? And like this is entertainment. Like people enjoy
Hmm.
watching this. Are you
Yeah,
this? You're not
it's
joking.
supposed to. I like, yeah, and you watch chickens like fight to the death, just like watching dogs fight to the death.
Oh
It's
my
disgusting.
god.
Yeah, it's gross. And the reason that they steal the dogs, Kaylee, this is really going to get you. The reason
Oh
that
my
they
god.
steal the dogs is they're bait dogs. They're how they teach their dogs how to fight. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's sad. It's terrible. It makes me like, it makes me like sick to my stomach. But yeah, that's
The
why they
only
steal.
thing that could make that worse is if you said they're breeding them, which wouldn't surprise me at this point.
No, they want the pure bloodlines. They want the pure bloodlines, but they call them bait dogs. That they teach their dogs how to be more ferocious, because when they're just learning to fight, they don't want a dog that's going to essentially be able to fight back at the harsher level. It's essentially like having like a 200-pound man fighting against a 90-pound teenager. That they
Ugh.
but it teaches them how to fight. And again, the chicken fighting too, it's those great big roosters. And I don't know if you have ever had the experience of being chased by a rooster. It is like, oh my gosh. It's
They're
one of the
mean.
scary.
Well, listen,
It's
from
one
the
of
one from The
right.
Hangover, he's like, he's so angry. All I do is feed him chicken and cocaine. Oh my god,
And
can you imagine?
the spurs that roosters have, you'll need stitches. I mean, if a true to it rooster comes after you and they get you with their spur, then you're gonna have. I mean, you might not have
It's
that
gonna
stitch.
mess you up. Yeah.
So,
Whew.
but yeah, the cockfighting is a big thing too. But it's all so they can bet and drink and whatever. But there's also the violence that goes along with it. Two people were shot and killed at a big chicken fight thing that they had up there. But while we were
I
there with,
seen that.
yeah, that's one.
Is Lee County, is that close to you?
Uh, I'd have to be looking at a map
Let me look.
to
Because
see what the.
I think it was Rankin County was another one, but I think Lee
Oh
County
yeah,
was the
Rankin
one that.
County's close by. Hey, Kathy. Yes, I talk to her probably daily, whether it be
Who?
text. We haven't talked on the phone in a couple of days, but yeah, I talk to her. It's
Candace?
just, yeah,
I talked to
um,
her last night and this morning
yeah, and
on the
but yeah,
phone.
the
I
kids are
called her
kids
because
are back to school. Her dad's still staying with them right now, and she's every day is. I wish I could say every day's getting a little bit better, but every day has a different
it's
thing that presents itself to her, and but she's getting through it. She's just
and
having
if
to learn to live life a little different, a lot
yeah
different.
and she's got to quit getting online and checking what that V word that I don't remember that you said that she's got to quit because he ain't gonna stop.
Mm-mm, not at all.
And uh, another day,
And
another strain.
there are enough other people that can take care of that
Oh,
at this point.
absolutely. And it's only gonna hurt. And that's I had a long talk with her about it yesterday. I'm like, she just wants she's trying to protect David's memory, and
Mhm.
she
And
shouldn't
it's
be in
not
that
like what
position in
comes
the
out
first
of
place.
his filthy,
It's
filthy
it's
mouth
horseshit.
matters.
Horseshit, exactly. And everybody that knows that has any kind of common sense knows that he can't take anything of what he says to be credible. But it's
Right.
just it's fresh and it's just wrong that she's even having to do that right now. She's not, she should be grieving with her children and her family.
Hmm. And learning how to
So
live life differently. And that chapter need to close it. I'm
Yep.
not a proponent of burning books, but burn it and be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. For the rest of ever.
So, but that day that we were there with the dogs, and got through all that, one of the things that I noticed were the cameras on. I saw at least four security cameras on the property.
4? What?
Two, oh yeah,
Then
there were at
why did
least
you
four.
only see the footage from camera 2? Where's 1, 3, and 4?
That was one of my main most questions was, and it very,
Oh my
and
god.
but it took us. They served the warrant for the security system hard drive on the 4th of May.
What?
We, uh huh, 4th of May.
Dude, you're not gonna convince me that shit ain't altered. I mean, they had all the time in the world to do whatever, that chop and screw it. Come on.
Hmm. Well, and that warrant wouldn't have even happened. I mean, my dad was raising Cain um, on let's get this done. Every day that passes gives them an opportunity. I fully expected the hard drives to be scrubbed by the time we got it. Like I was just like, well, there's no way that they're dumb enough to still have footage on them in the time that it's taken us to get them. But they did. They were able to serve the warrants on the 3rd of May to pick up the hard drives and or 4th of May and take them to the Mississippi Crime Lab. They sat at the Mississippi Crime Lab months and months. They said it could take anywhere. They said, best case scenario, we should have the footage back in 6 to 9 months. I'm like, it's a hard drive. It's what? It's like literally you plug it in and there it
And
is.
download it. Yeah, it's instant. There's no wait.
Well, and every time we'd call to check on it, oh well, they're still in the queue. Oh well, they
The
didn't have the
queue.
right like in the line of crack
What the
process.
hell?
Oh, they didn't have the right kind of part to get the stuff off of it. They had to order the
Parts?
part, and I'm
It's a
like, this is
software. What are you talking about?
right. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not dumb, but it's just like,
You
okay.
wouldn't even
So
have actually needed the box. They were being extra as hell because it's all accessible by cloud, and all they had, all Chucky had. Listen, they didn't even need Chucky's permission at this point. A warrant, and they could have had everything all the way to anything that was saved on that man's cloud. They should have had it and not let him pick and choose what. I mean, who's that? They might as well hand it over a freaking VHS tape. What the hell are you talking about? What?
right.
I had to order a
And
part.
well, and
What?
yeah,
It's connected to Wi-Fi. There's no need for that.
exactly. But there were at least four cameras that I physically saw. And
Yeah, what
the
the
camera
hell?
footage that we finally got to see in February. Okay, here's your trigger warning, Kaylee, because I know you'll have it. Well,
Oh my
one,
god, I'm
to
gonna
back up
mute.
a little bit, was it took all this time, and then finally I guess the crime lab decided that it was just going to take them too long, and so they did additional warrants for change of custody, or is what she said, but I'm assuming she meant chain of custody. That they retrieved the hard drive from the Mississippi Crime Lab and took it to a third party vendor down in Taylorsville, Mississippi. And I've got the name of the company somewhere, but that's what they do. That they actually retrieved the software. It only took them a day. Imagine that. That they retrieved the data off the hard drive and put it on a thumb drive and got it back to the Holmes County Sheriff's Department. Well, she calls me on a late one afternoon, was like, "Hey, we got the surveillance footage back in February this year. So May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. 9 months. Took 9 months to get it back. Um, and she called and said, "Hey, we've got the footage back." I was like, "I'll be there. When can I come? Are you going to be there at 8?" She's like, "Oh, you don't have to come that early. Just come about 9:30." And so we were like, all right. Got up there to watch the surveillance footage. And before we even got started, found out that Chucky's mother, and Chucky's wife, Mamie Day, all had got to come the day before and watch it before us, before we even knew that the footage was back. She told us, of course, my dad was like, "What are you
Wait,
let
what the
the?"
fuck? I gotta mute because I gotta scratch this itch. I'm about to drop some serious F bomb.
I told you, I gave you your warning.
What? How do
That
you let the freaking suspect coming? Why do
was
they were there? Why do they need to see it?
exactly. Um,
Oh my god.
I was like, wait. Are you telling me that the primary person of interest in the disappearance of Alex got to watch this footage before we were able to
Who's
watch it?
running this show?
Her logic behind it, and she was like, well, I was just, I was trying to do you a favor in that we knew that there were going to be people, if you were going to have questions about who it was in the video, we wanted to be able to go ahead and have names for those people for you. We wanted to be able to tell you who they were while you were here. And I was like, oh, okay. So did they give you the names of the people? Well, yeah, yeah, we got that, and it was two people they identified. And then I was like, all right, well, okay, well, they've already seen it. Let's just watch. And so we proceeded to watch the video. And that was a show that was just a blah. She didn't know how to do it, and we ended up having to call the guy and the help desk and everything. But anyway, she gave me control of the mouse, and I got to click through it and make it to where it went in order. And you see me pull up, and it was a motion activated camera. So, there had to be motion in front of it, obviously, for it to start working. And it would run like a minute, 2 minutes, however long somebody was moving around. And I think like an additional 30 seconds after, movement ceased. And so we were watching through, and, you know, watching me pull up and get out and give Alex the last hug that I would give him. I have to say that was tough. That was probably one of the hardest things that I've done throughout this, and I've watched it about 100 times. I'm gonna pause just a sec. And hugging him, knowing the conversation that we had, where I just, I hugged him tight and I said, I love you so much, just be smart, baby. I love you. And he's like, all right, well, just call me, call or text me when you get home and let me know you made it. All right, I'll talk to you in a bit. And I got in my car and he walks up to the porch, and then, you see different sequences, different files, and each of the files were the file name was the date stamp, 2022-04-20, and then the timestamp of it. So I could tell what order they went in. And each one of them was about 2 minutes, some of them 3 minutes long. And there was no more than like a 30-second gap between the next one. And when I say that place was busy, when there were people when I pulled up, when about 15 minutes, I would say, hold on, I actually have that in front of me. I think I have it. I've got that. Well, I sent it to you, but within 15 to 20 minutes of when I left, you see Alex walk back out. Body language, it was just, I could tell as his mama, like something was just, it was, I don't know. It was almost like whatever he went there to achieve didn't happen. And you see him walk out, and there are people in the driveway getting in vehicles and leaving at the same time he was. I mean, it was just all just real sus. And then there's a 15-minute gap, almost an hour gap in the video files. And it jumped. And Kaylee, I don't have it in front of me. You may have to be able to pull it quicker than I can of that spreadsheet.
Which one? Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Timeline spreadsheet. But, you've got all these video files of, 30 seconds, each one is like one right after the other. And then all of a sudden there's this huge gap. And I'm like, well, where's this one? Oh, well, this is what they gave us. Oh, okay. Well, then we keep watching. And I know from the phone data, like there are no ifs, ands, or buts. That phone left that property. Chucky's disconnected from the Wi-Fi. I mean, it's obvious data. He was connected to Chucky's Wi-Fi. It was, where the phone pings are. That phone left that property at 9:26 p.m. Well, that's where the biggest gap was in the video surveillance. And I'm like, okay, stop. Wait, this is something's wrong here. I was like, there are files missing off of here. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no. You can't delete you can't delete. If you try to delete one file, you'd have to delete the whole thing. I was like, okay, well, is there a way that we can just have, I know that y'all took it to the crime lab and y'all ended up taking it to a third party vendor to retrieve the data. Would it be okay if we just took it to a third party just to, kind of like a doctor? Let's just get a second opinion, because I'm just not feeling good about this. I mean, to me, there's obvious data. Well, oh, you ready, Kaylee? Okay. Well, we've already returned the hard drive to Chucky. And I
What?
said, wait, what? Excuse me? Oh, yeah. We have and give him his property back.
What
said, so
it's no longer theirs when you get a search warrant. You give it's seized. Okay, that would be like somebody killing somebody with a gun, and then after you fingerprint it, you give it back to them.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
I said, so the one piece of solid evidence that we have you just watched the same thing that I watched. There's obvious data missing off of here. There's obvious gaps in this video surveillance, and you gave it back to him already? Well, yeah. I mean, it was his, so we had to give it back. Right. But the pieces that the video chunks that were missing, and I did it all out on the time. I am an analytical nerd, if y'all haven't all figured this out by now, that I've got to see it. I have to see it in front of me to really fully get it. I have to see it, say it, read it. Part of the ADD. There's an obvious gap that exactly coincided with the phone leaving the property, the phone tilting, all of the key pieces of the data that were pulled, data that cannot be manipulated through Google. They coincided exactly with those timestamps. Don't tell me that something's not amiss. Well, with the Holmes County Sheriff's Department, they got to the part in the video where they see Alex walking to the gate. They quit watching. They were like, oh, he walked to the gate. See, he was fine. Nothing happened to him. There he was walking right there. You see him. I was like, okay, well, can we watch the rest? They were like, well, yeah. I mean, if you want to. I said, absolutely, I do. I identified at least 5 additional people on the video surveillance that needed to be questioned, that came in and out that night, that all had suspicious behavior. 2 of them, and I don't know if I'm supposed to, I can say it. 2 of them, and all along, Dalton Householder has been at the top of my list. Alex made 1 phone call on that phone ever. There were several texts between, he and I, he and Chucky. 1 phone call was ever made with that phone, and it was to Dalton Householder at 8:36 p.m. for 26 seconds.
And I find that interesting, considering one of the stories that Chucky, the first one he told Willie March, was he went to go get his phone to give Alex phone numbers, and that would make sense because Alex would have needed his number and then called him. But also I know that he called or was texted. Dalton was the last one he texted when he got arrested. Isn't that right? Back in February.
Mm-hmm. And I had met
something
Dalton.
Is going on.
Right. I had met Dalton. I met him on one previous occasion. Had seen Dalton, after Alex had been missing, but prior to this, the very first ground search that we did was I think that Sunday after Alex went missing. At this, I was just going nuts, and drove up, and my dad and I talked, and we were like, all right, this we got to go look. I was like, I can't go home again and not physically go and look for Alex where I know I left him. And when we got a big group of people together, and we all met up at the marathon, the truck stop. Everybody was kind of getting everything together, and ATVs, and we had several people bring their horses and all that. Well, while we were all getting together, I looked over and I saw my dad talking to somebody, and it was Dalton. I was like, oh, there's one of Alex's friends. I wanted to talk to him anyway, because maybe he's got some, and this is before I even had phone records or anything. I saw my dad talking to him, and I was like, hey, so what did he have to say or whatever? And he was like, well, he's just going to help us, he's going to help us search too. He was whatnot. And I saw him get into a white truck with all these stickers on the back window that was parked over at the gas pump, and he got in. Well, we never saw Dalton again. We're all over there and searching. I mean, like all around Chucky's house on Stockyard Road, on Barnsdale Road, everywhere around that we could get to, off in the woods and dirt roads and all that. But nobody ever saw Dalton again. And, that kind of struck with me then, but not as monumental as it did as time went on. And then we get the phone records. We were able to get those. And I'm like, oh, well, he talked to Dalton. Why hadn't Dalton told me that he talked to him that night? Right? Shortly after I left him there. Oh no, I never talked to Alex that night. I never had that. He never called me. Were you sure? Because it's 26 seconds long. I mean, if 26 seconds, even if you didn't answer, that's at least a voicemail. If you call somebody and they don't answer, it's 11 seconds, between 11 and 13 seconds. I've practiced it dozens of times. That's, if you don't answer, that's what you get. It's 11 to 13 seconds, but that's at least a voicemail. But for a generation that doesn't have phone calls, that all they do is text, 26 seconds is a hell of a long time to be on the phone. Hey man, I'm over here at Chucky's. I don't have a ride. Can you come scoop me up? All right, bet. I'll see you in a minute. Or, hey man, I came by Chucky's and shit just went sideways. Can you come pick me up? All right, see you in a few. Hey man, just got out of jail. What's up? You want to get together? All right, I'll see you in a few. I'm over at Chuck's. Whatever it was, a conversation was had. Dalton adamantly denies it to this day, calls himself Alex's best friend, but have since found out.
That triggers the shit out of me, because he's the only one that, out of everybody that I've reached out to, that wouldn't refuse to talk to me, told me to respect his privacy like a little punk.
Yeah, I respect you.
Yeah,
and
respect these beep.
We since found out that two of the people that I identified in the surveillance video when
Hold up. Is that for real? A phone call and a text with a photo?
Yeah. On remember the page I sent you with the weird phone data that we had the IP address on? Mm-hmm. It goes through and it tells you all the different services. Like if you text, it says, text whatever. If you make a phone call, it says something about a phone call. But the camera on Alex's phone was used at 8:34. Yes.
Okay, but where's the picture didn't upload to his Google Photos?
Nope.
What? Oh, what the fudge? What the freak French toast?
Yeah. And it didn't show that he texted Dalton. So I don't know if he sent, I don't know, but the camera on Alex's phone was used at 8:34.
Wait, he was wearing Alex's shoes?
Oh yeah,
I'm getting triggered.
Yeah, that was at a later date. Yeah, that he was wearing Alex's shoes.
Oh, he was all up in that house at Peace Street, just helping himself to Alex's shit.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I said shit.
That's okay. But yes, he did have on his shoes. Um, I get, he does make me angry.
Some
Um,
best friend. Come on, man.
right. That's how best friends are. I don't need any.
Yeah,
But
who with friends like that, who
no,
needs
not the
enemies?
shoes he went missing in. No, it was not the shoes he went missing in. It was just a pair of shoes that were
Oh my
at
god.
his house.
No, it was boots he was wearing. Y'all, don't give me
Yeah,
a
he
heart
was
attack
wearing
like
big
that.
white
Like that
boots.
is
Yeah.
ruthless.
Oh no, I would have. Yeah, I keep saying I don't look good in orange. Um, but orange is
Orange
the
is
new
the new
black,
black.
right? Jinx. Um, but with two of the people that I identified in that video, that pulled in their car and the girls in there, and I was like, oh, I know who she is, and I know who he is. And the guy walks in, you see him walk by the camera carrying a box, and goes into Chucky's house, and then comes back out and doesn't have a box. And she's sitting in the car, and there's somebody in the back seat, somebody or something in the back seat of the car, and I don't know. She has dogs, so I don't know what it is, but anyway, so they did finally bring them to the Holmes County Sheriff's Department to question them. Um, I would never got a phone call about it. They never told me that they talked to him or anything like that. But I finally reached out to them, because they were two of Alex's acquaintances. We'll call them friends just to be whatever. And was able to talk to her and say, hey, so I saw you in the video. Just wanted to know, if there's anything you could tell me. She was like, well, I already talked to the Holmes County Sheriff's Department, and we told them that Dalton was there. I said, you said what? You told them what? Well, yeah, we told him Dalton was there that night. I mean, we didn't talk to him or anything, but he was out back feeding the dogs. And I said,
What?
the
Okay,
night.
that's
Mm-hmm,
that's what
mm-hmm,
right here at the 10:05
mm-hmm,
from 10:07. So that
mm-hmm,
means that Dalton would have been, if that's true and they did, that would mean that Dalton was here. I mean,
mm-hmm.
if he's not seen on camera coming, that means that he was there the whole time. So that means he was there while Alex was there. So there's no way to wait a
And
second. So this it's blank because there's no way there is no motion for that long. Not when it was popping like the 7-Eleven for the like
right,
I mean, and it
right.
picks up on everything. I know ours picks up like on bugs and stuff. Like there's no way. Mm. Okay, so now we're at here, which is what? So they're here from 10:05 to about 10:10, or no, 10:20.
Let's see. They got there at 10:05. Yeah, they were there. But, well, I don't know how long because you don't see their vehicle leave.
Oh my God! No way. Listen, it should record continuously until there's no more motion, and it should
You
go for
don't.
like
You
at
see
least
Terry
30
and Amanda
seconds.
pull up. Right. You see Terry and Amanda pull up, but you never see their GMC leave. Is it strange
Wow.
that there's a 13.5 minute gap in the
Oh
footage after
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh, but nothing was deleted.
Okay, and then wait a second. So then at 9:53, I at that point from who's Chucky texting on
Right.
incoming text from D Edward like and why don't we have the content of these messages? Why haven't they got the actual cell phone information? Like
Oh, well, that's because they never sent in the preservation of data warrants that I asked for on day two. I had
what?
a, there were, nope, never sent them. And at this point in time, that information is gone because it was a go phone, like a pay and go phone or whatever that you have to, and I kept it up for like 4 months and kept
Yeah,
paying
but
the
they should
bill
still
just
be.
to keep
What about D Edwards though?
it. They seem to think that he's changed his number since then. And I'm like, okay, well, they still
That
keep that.
doesn't matter.
But with the way that cell phone companies work, the reason that it was so crucial to have that preservation of data now, and when I say there was a gentleman out of Alabama who was an FBI consultant that I spoke with like literally 2 days into Alex missing, that said, these are the most important things you need to do right now. There are 2 forms that need to be filled out and submitted to both Google and his phone service provider. I'll get them filled out for you, and I will send them to the sheriff's department. I gave him the fax number and the email addresses to send them. They literally had to do was fill in the dates, the name, the case number, and sign it. and fax it or email it or get it to Google and AT&T. They just never did it. They never submitted the preservation of data forms, so we can't, at this point in time, we cannot get the text verbiage. And I wanted it terribly. I wanted it. That probably would have told us like everything that it would, or maybe not everything, but it would have answered significant questions. So, but
It
yeah.
would have at least, I mean, if nothing else, if you're not right, it would at least rule them out, because it's not hard for, if they don't know how to do it, let me and you do it and just compare it with Alex's and know unequivocally,
Hmm.
okay, we can move on to someone that is worth looking into, because you're not going to convince me them boys at that age didn't have their phones in their pocket the whole time.
Right.
And if they
Um,
didn't, that would be the very telling too. Like, you left your phone behind at these specific time. It would be very revealing, regardless of what it shows.
exactly.
And
But
it's just
it's
common sense. Why would that? What more do you? I mean, everything that it says you need for a search warrant. Every box I can check it. I mean, and I know the bare minimum. There's no way these guys are like, oh well, a judge wouldn't sign it. I mean, come on. What if
well,
you don't have
getting a
reasons to
judge.
protect this person? Why would you not do your job? When it's all laid out for you? If it's laziness, I don't that doesn't make sense to me, because you've done it all for them. That literally all it needs is their freaking signature.
That was it,
Oh,
and send
I'm
it.
about to. Oh my god.
And I asked about that multiple times. I was like, "Have you gotten that done yet? Have you gotten that done yet?" Oh yeah, yeah, we're taking care of it. We're taking care of it. Well, they never did it. Um, but the fact that two eyewitnesses. Now, I only spoke to the girl, but she kept referring to we through the whole thing. Well, we saw
Are they a
that
couple? Like,
they are, they are.
okay, okay, yeah.
But both of them said Dalton was there. We saw him. We saw his vehicle. We saw him there that same night. You never see him on the surveillance tape. You
His
never.
vehicle. What does he
He's
drive?
not. He's got several vehicles, but
Oh my
anybody that
god.
dealt with Chucky, he was in a white truck that day that I saw
Was
him
it
at
in?
the
I was
gas
gonna say, was
station.
it one of the ones that you seen on the camera?
Well, the white truck that is in the camera view the entire time,
Hmm.
that they keep throwing stuff in the back of. I
Oh
can't
my
tell
god.
vehicles, but my kids can. And when I sent them a still shot, I was like, "Can you tell me what vehicle this may be?" And he went through. He's like, "Looks like a late or early '90s, Silverado, whatever it was." I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
my
"Okay,
husband's
thanks."
the same way. He can tell, like, oh, that's an 80s. Let me see the body
Yeah,
style. Like,
the body
what? What?
styles and the
English,
headlights,
please.
crazy.
Yeah, good.
But
Yeah.
just the fact that two eyewitnesses put Dalton there. Dalton's denied that he talked to Alex, even though there's phone records that say otherwise. Denied that he was there or saw Alex at all. But two eyewitnesses put you there. Has refused to voluntarily release his phone records, voluntarily, do anything. I had my bait of it, and so I called the sheriff's department yesterday and said, "Hey, any updates?" Nope, nothing. No, nothing at all. I said, "Well, were you able to talk to the people that we saw?" I
Then
was going to give her an
speak.
opportunity. I wanted to give her an opportunity to tell me.
Did you talk to
Uh,
Willie?
no.
Because listen, I've
Um,
been calling for a week, and he don't talk to the press. First of all, I'm not the press, but I appreciate the compliment. But who does he talk to? Because I'll have them call.
sure, he
I'll
talks
be
to the
on.
press. It's an election year. He's going to be all up in the press from now until November. I assure
Whoever
you of
answers
that.
the phone for him has told me that he doesn't talk to the press. He's got work to do. I said, it took everything I had not to say, he works. Like, what? Please tell me he's in the field, like doing something, because I need a camera for that.
Yeah,
That
but they,
repossession video that I watched was disgusting.
I know, right? But she
Um,
actually, her response yesterday, and it's probably too early for me to be sharing it, but it was too blatant for me not to. That I know that I heard with my own ears someone tell me that they physically saw Dalton there that night, and I know she was there because I saw her on the surveillance tape. Well, have you talked to them? Uh-huh. And I was like, well, did they say they saw anything? Oh no, they said they never saw Alex. I was like, okay, well, they didn't see Alex, but they saw somebody, right? Well, no. I said, well, no, they didn't say any of that. And I said, well, that's really strange, Juanita, because I spoke to her and she told me that she told y'all that Dalton was there and that she saw him and he was out back feeding the dogs. Her response was, is there something wrong with her? And I said,
What?
excuse, it's
What? Like,
what do you
define
mean?
wrong. Like, what?
She said, well, is something wrong with her? I said, well, other than, a
Like, are
history of
we are we
substance
are we
abuse, I'm not
judging
sure.
people here? Like,
Right.
what?
If you're asking for a diagnosis or something, I couldn't answer that. I don't know her. I
Oh no, it
just
sounds
know
like,
what
did she
she
bump her
told
head?
me.
Why she? I was told to keep her mouth shut. Like, that's what it sounded like to me. I mean, I didn't hear her tone, but I can imagine it. Just that's a very strange thing to say, that
Right.
for your initial response, and not to just say no,
So,
that's not true. Is she okay? Like, has she bumped her head? That's how I took it. Like, does she
right.
not listen? Did
Is
she
she
not hear me when I told
crazy?
her to keep her mouth shut? Yeah, has she lost her
Right.
freaking mind?
Is something,
Does she
is
want to be yeah,
wrong with her? And I was like, well, I don't really know what you mean by something wrong with her.
define
But
wrong. Yeah, like, what the hell is?
so I said, well, Juanita, I know what she told me. I said, but that data that you were able to provide, where you showed me, I was able to see it that day, where you all the different phone towers that Alex's phone pinged on that day, and it's got the little circles and all. I was like, wouldn't this suffice? Can we go ahead and get that for Dalton? That's just to exclude him. If for nothing else, just to mark him off the list, because I haven't marked him off my list yet. He's still at the top of my list, and that would just make me feel better to know where he was and what towers his phone was pinging off of. Can we go ahead and do that? Do we have enough circumstantial or whatever evidence you need to have that done? Yeah, I can get that done. I mean, I know how to do that. I was like, okay. She's like, but do you think he's still got that phone? And I said, I don't know if he still has that phone or not, but I know that in the
He
research I've done
texted
over,
me on it less than 2 weeks ago.
said they have that data for 2+ years. I said, so even if the phone has been turned off, they'll still have that information. So can we get that?
He still
Supposedly,
had it 2 weeks ago and told me to respect his privacy. So,
yeah, he
if
still.
that,
They know he still has it.
hell no, you can't. He can't. He's a people. They can't. They gotta have. You can't be keeping up with a bunch of different numbers. Heaven forbid,
Yeah. Well, and I really
It-
thought
you
that
can't be a
the
drug dealer that way with a new number.
right, the geofence, we've been waiting on that. And that's like the ultimate, tells you exactly,
What's
who
geofence?
else was there and things like that. And the
I've
one
heard of
this
geocoding. What's geofence?
it's geofencing. What they basically do is, like, you're looking down at a satellite map and they draw a box around a certain area. So they would do it and they would probably wouldn't want to do it with the marathon, just because there's so much traffic there. But they basically put a box around Chucky's property, and every single cellular activity that went on in that box in a certain time frame will show up, and it's got anonymous markers of, this phone was here and this phone was here, but it doesn't tell you who they are. It's like a 3-step warrant process, that you get the warrant for the initial geofence search, and this is the area and this is a specific time frame, and it gives you anonymous pings. Okay, well, we know this is Alex's ping right here. Well, here's another ping that goes in the same way that his did, and it's like mirrors Alex's ping. So then that prompts for the secondary warrant of, what other phone pings were in the area. And then that third is which one was mirroring him, and it gives you the actual owner of the device. And that will tell me exactly who was with Alex, and the phone that was next to his phone when it was flung out in the woods or flung on the side of the road or laid, wherever his phone pinged last, and where that phone then went to. Well, that was going to be my miraculous saving grace. It was going to tell me, where he is, and if not where he physically is, who was standing next to him when his phone stopped moving, and where that phone went from there. The one person who had the capability of doing that at the Mississippi Crime Lab retired in February. There is no longer anyone in the state of Mississippi law enforcement who has the capability of doing a geofence search. I found that out recently as well. That I've been sitting and waiting for it, because they told us that would take the longest to do. And so we've just been waiting. And then when I finally asked about it again, they said, well, he retired, right? I was like, so who took his spot? Well, we don't have anybody in that position anymore. So, yeah. So we got to a dead end again, but she's gonna have to follow up on the Dalton thing.
Was the data, was it gathered? I mean, we could figure this shit out. I mean, what?
We can get Alex's, we have everything. Basically, everything that I have on Alex's phone is.
Did you get the geofencing stuff
from the geofence? But we can't get it for somebody else without a warrant.
Oh, because it takes a special person to. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna say this on the air, but let me do some. Let me do some stuff.
Right.
Like that's what I'm talking about. Like,
but
yeah, like
I may know somebody.
Yeah, a friend about a friend. Like, I come from a long line of felons, and I might know a thing or two about a thing or two.
And
just kidding.
I'm all about doing it the legal way, but are there? I will hire somebody privately to do it. You're retired. Right. I feel like I can reach out to him and say, look, you're retired. How much money would it cost you to do a consult for me to do just this? Is it $5,000? Is it $10,000? Is it, what do you need? And I will gladly pay you. But it has to be through law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I'll call Grady Judd.
Right. I gotta check on my little real quick, because she's been so patient. She hadn't opened this door once, but that girl has got her heart set on going to a trampoline park this afternoon.
Oh, we got those here called to infinity. Let me tell you what, you will be sore for the rest of the year.
Right. Oh,
they're fun.
I love them, but I've learned, I'll have to send you a funny video. Alex and I used to take her to the jump parks all the time. And there's one video that he took of me, and and it's so, I love listening to his voice, in it, but I had no business doing it, but it was almost like one of those ninja things where you jump from side to side to side. I made it across, but you can tell I almost didn't. And, I learned a long time ago. I don't have any business doing all that. I can watch and I can film and I can take pictures of you, but the jumping part, I feel it for days. So. But yeah, I'll upload this timeline to my community page, and then the one that's the updated version, so everybody can kind of read over it. And I am all about 2 heads are better than 1, 100 heads are better than 2. I'm all about input and, hey, did you look at this? Hey, did you look at that? Kind of thing. I know that there are people who probably know how to parse data better than, even though we've gotten into the chat GPT. Y'all, that thing is amazing. And it explains things to you in a way that I would never have understood previously.
Yes, and it transcribes stuff that is for me, it dumbs it down, not to be I'm just going to say, it dumbs it down, and then it gets my wheels turning, because I'm like, oh, that's what this means. And then boom, before you know it, I'm just line for line, So it makes it understandable, which is all like it's not a bunch of gibberish. Like I'm not, I'm pretty tech savvy, but I'm not techie talk. Like I don't know what a tegabyte, gigabyte, but it breaks it down to where I can understand it, and then it makes it. You don't have to be from the Geek Squad to know what's going on there, and that, and I cannot believe how easy that was once you just started doing it. Because then once you learn the terminology, the rest of it it's literally just there's so much of it, and you have to go line for line. Like, and I'm not even kidding. It's like 600 pages. I'm on like page 270 something, and I'm like, almost not even close. Because a lot of it is like I keep trying to like wanting to tell myself, oh, this stuff looks like the same that I just did, so I'm gonna skip it and cheat. But my OCD is like, nope, I'm doing line for line. I don't even care if it's duplicates and the exact same. I'm doing it line for line. So that's that.
Well, it's the only way you can do it.
I know I could cheat, but I'm just saying my brain won't let me.
Mm-mm.
And it's tedious, because it's numbers and latitudes and longitudes, and that is like not my forte. And it's really easy to like you can't there, you get a decimal wrong, a number wrong, and it's all effed. But what I can tell you from the stuff that I have done and comparing it with Ashley's, all of it, and we go about how we go, how we've been mapping it and stuff, and we have our own thought processes, and it matches up identical to the precise T.
Yeah, and I
So
think
you
there are a
can't
couple
say
other people
it's.
that are doing it too, and they're
Yeah, Miss T has, and so has Watcher Crazy, and I mean, all of us have went about it in a completely different way, and it's identical. Like you could overlay it, and it lines up perfectly. So at the end of the day, phone data don't lie, and we all are getting the same results. So there's no way you could be like, oh, we're being biased, and we're just taking one person's word for it. Like it's been it's been done, and it all lines up. Like it is that there's nothing that can be like misconstrued, and oh, you misinterpreted it with Alex's phone data. And I think because we're so familiar with it, if we could get something to compare it to, like Chucky's or Dalton's, I mean, we could get some shit knocked out or match some shit up, and it wouldn't take us near as long as it did with this, because we know how to not, we can do it in a quicker way. And what, we have it, but if there's nothing to compare it to, what do we have? It's just frustrating. I can only imagine how you guys feel, you and your family feel, because I'm over here down in Florida, and like, and just I find myself some days where I want to put my head through the wall because I'm so mad, because it's like, how are you just okay with this? Like you come up like you're the sheriff, and you have the audacity to say that you took an oath to protect and serve, and people are dying on your watch, and you're just, yeah, I'm the sheriff, and I don't do shit about it. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like, and some days I get a little throat punchy, and then other days I just cry and cry and cry, because it's so frustrating, because it's all there. Like and it's so disheartening, because it's like, if you have it all there and they're not doing nothing, can you imagine for the families that literally their loved ones just left and they don't know anything? Can you imagine the pits of their despair, just not knowing? I could not imagine. But I almost feel like it would be worse when you know and you can't get anybody to do anything about it. Like that, just I would be probably like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that on the air, because it's probably considered to be crazy, but I would like send some strongly worded emails, wink, wink, throat punch,
exactly.
coming up in that biatch sideways, like, I got my boots on. You don't want to do it? Let me show you how it's done. You better just stay out of my way and don't come arrest me for what I do. You better keep that same loose ass politics whenever I start doing this shit my way, is all I'm saying. Some of them, beer.
All right, Miss Kaylee, I am going to wrap it up because I